Good evening, students. Maybe, should, or should I say, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Uh, I say good evening because I am recording this lesson in the evening time. But for you, you could be watching in the evening or in the afternoon, whenever the time is convenient for you. So take all my wishes. Don't mind the time. I give all my best wishes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, and possible every day. I wish you to be a very good day. So today we are going to learn the basics of English grammar. Basics of English grammar. So the bricks on which the English language or the English grammar is based. So what do you think they are? What do you think that concept is? So you have been reading this grammar, but this particular grammar item since your childhood. Maybe it was introduced to you in your 6th or 7th class if you are Telugu medium, and even before that if you are English medium. So yet in the graduation first year book also, and sometimes in second year in the when in the before 2 years there was this item or this concept. So what is this concept? The basic concept of English grammar, parts of speech. So parts of speech, and you might be well aware of, or you might be having a very good knowledge of parts of speech, I think. But as it is in our syllabus, it has been prescribed by the university, so we will revise it in a quick way. I will try to revise it for you in a very quick way. Okay, so just see this parts of speech, and I think this unit of parts of speech might contain 10 marks in your examination. So don't take it easy that it is a very easy subject or a easy concept. Very concentrated, because we'll get confused with parts of speech. In exam, what they ask is they give a sentence and underline some word in the sentence, and they will ask us to identify the parts of speech of the underlined word. Though in theoretically, in theory, we know what is noun, what is pronoun, what is adjective. At that practical situation in the examination, we get confused. So sometimes what we think as an adjective is actually an adverb. What we think a noun is actually a verb. What we think to be verb is actually sometimes it is noun. So it is really confusing. So I have seen this question being asked in several times, and not many students got 5 out of 5 in, or 10 out of 10 in recognizing or identifying the parts of speech. So let us be very careful about this. Okay, let us be very careful about this, and let us start our presentation. So parts of speech. So what do you mean by parts of speech? So parts of speech is all the parts with which the speech or the language is constructed. The parts with which a language or a speech is constructed is called parts of speech. So in English, there are 8 parts of speech. How many parts? 8 parts of speech. So you are aware of these things: noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Okay, repeat after me: noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. The part of speech indicates how the word functions in meaning as well as grammatically within the sentence. So this is the basic parts of speech set the basic rule of grammar, how a sentence is constructed, and through sentence how language is constructed. So it is very essential and important, it is very basic to know the rules of parts of speech for all of us. For non-native speakers like us, it is very essential to know parts of speech. So if we know the parts of speech, we will be able to write good English or learn good English and make English into our own language. So basically these are very important. Understanding parts of speech is essential for determining the correct definition of a word when using the dictionary. So if you want to understand the parts of speech, in the dictionary, if you see a very good dictionary, very good English dictionary, standard dictionary, for every word, after every word, there is written in the bracket or in italics V or N or P, denoting verb, adjective or noun, or simply verb, adjective, noun are written. So same sentence can be used in different ways. It can be used as a noun, it can be used as a pronoun, it can be used as an adjective, but depending on the context which we are using. So if we have the basic knowledge of parts of speech, then we can understand the sentence, and through sentence we can understand the language, English. That is very different from that of our mother tongue. So this is very necessary. First thing is noun. What is the first one? It is noun. What is a noun? What is a noun? What is a noun? I don't hear you, anybody. Noun is a word for a person, place, thing or idea. Simply, noun is a name. What is noun? Noun is a name. Name of a person, name of a place, or name of a thing, or name of an idea, abstract maybe, an idea. Name given to anything is a noun. What is a noun? A name given to anything, person, place, thing, idea, anything is noun. So sometimes nouns are often used with articles, a and the, but not always. There are many types of nouns. Proper nouns always start with capital letter. So this is an important thing. Very simple, very basic, but important thing. Proper nouns start with a capital letter. So if you are writing your name, first letter of your name should begin with capital letter. If you are writing the name of a city, the first letter should begin with a capital letter. Okay, so every proper noun, every name should be written in capital. So there are many plural, concrete, many nouns are there. So let us see the types of nouns and what are they. So it is just for your revision. So I am not going very deep into the subject of nouns and other things. Okay. So let us go first one, common nouns. First category of nouns, types of nouns. First category of noun. What is that? Common noun. The key word here is common. What is common? So you can guess. A common noun is a noun that refers to profile people or things in general. So something that it's a word that refers to people or things or animals in general. For example, boy, country, city, day, birth, happiness. So it's a common noun. Boy, why it is common? It could be any boy. Country. So there are many countries. Common. A geographical entity is called a country. So there are many countries. Common for everybody. India is called a country. Pakistan is called a country. Bangladesh is called a country. Yes. You are called a boy. Your friend is called a boy. So common. Name given to an entity is called a common entity. Common entity is common noun. And second one, what is second one? Proper noun. Proper noun is a name that, this is very important, proper noun, that name identifies a particular place. Name given to a particular place, thing, or a person. For example, your name, as you can see in the slide, Stephen. If your name is Stephen, that means that word Stephen is particularly referring to you. The word Stephen is referring to you. It is not common noun. It is proper noun because it's particularly referring to you. What is common noun? Boy. You are a boy, your friend is a boy. It is a common for all the boys. But Stephen, it is properly, particularly is addressed at you, is concerned at you. So that is proper noun. And second one, Africa. Africa is the name given to particular geographical identity. Do you understand the difference between common and proper? Africa is in the name given to a particular geographical entity. But country can be anything. Any geographical entity commonly can be called country. But Africa is Africa. India is India. Maybe both are continents or both are countries. But India is proper noun. Africa is proper noun. Country refers to both of them as common nouns. Proper noun, Monday. A day, a name given to a particular day. Common noun would be day. Okay. Language is common noun. English is proper noun. Okay. Language is common noun. English is proper noun. Okay, so look at the slide carefully and try to understand. As I explained to you in the earlier slide, proper nouns begin with capital letters. What do they begin with? They begin with capital letters. So that is why when you write India, I should be capital. When you write India, I should be capital. When you write your name, first letter of your name should be capital. So this is very basic thing, but you have to practice it. You have to learn it. All the proper nouns. If you write English, E should be capital. Next, concrete noun, abstract noun. So after proper noun and common noun, there is a contrast. We have seen the contrast, the difference, common noun and proper noun, a slight difference. And now we will see the difference between concrete noun and abstract noun. Concrete is that can be physically, the presence of which can be physically verified, which can be physically identified. Concrete. Abstract is that the physicality of which cannot be perceived, the physicality of which cannot be identified. It is an abstract thing. Okay. A concrete noun is a noun which refers to people and to things that exist physically and can be seen, touched, smelled, heard, or tasted. Examples include dog, building, coffee, tree, rain, beach, tune, anything. So you can feel them, you can see them, so you can taste them. They are physically present for you. You can see them, you can touch them, you can hear them. But in contrast to concrete nouns, abstract nouns, they refers to ideas, qualities, conditions, things that cannot be seen or touched, and things which have no physical reality. So things that which we cannot physically feel, we cannot perceive physically, they are psychological or mental. For example, truth. What is truth? Can you taste the truth physically? Touch it? No. Danger, happiness, these are the psychological or mind related things. Concepts, thinkings, happiness, time, friendship, humor. Okay. Friend. If we say friend, it's a noun, concrete noun maybe, or a common noun. But friendship, you can see your friend, you can touch your friend. But friendship, it exists between two people, but you cannot touch it physically. So it becomes abstract noun. The things which you cannot touch are called abstract. Next, collective nouns. Next category of nouns is collective nouns. Collective nouns refer to a group of people or things. Example. So, example, I'll give you audience, family, government, team, injury. Look at the slide carefully and try to understand what is collective noun. Why is it called collective noun? Do you get anything? Family. What is family? A group of people. Family is the name given to a group of people who are related to each other through blood. What is family? What is the definition of a family? Family is the name given to a group of people who are blood relatives. Okay, it's a collective noun given to a collection, given to a group, not individual. If it is individually given, it is called proper noun. Okay. Student. If you are individual, the common name for you is a student. If there are 30 students, there is a collective name for your 30 students. Class. 30 people sitting in one room being taught same subjects. That is called class. So that bunch of students is called a class. Individually they are called students. When they are collectively they are called a class. Collective noun. Team. It's a collective noun. Individually it is player. 1 player, 2 players, 3 players. All the 10 or 20 players, 5 players, they are collectively called, a name is given to them. Team. Jury. What is jury? Members of judges. A panel of judges is called jury. So collective noun is given to a group of people or group of things. For example, sheep. Collective noun. A 30 or 40 sheep are called a herd. Herd. Name given to the group of sheep is herd. Cow herd, sheep herd. Okay. And countable, uncountable nouns. It is very simple. That which we can count with numbers, using numbers, is countable. That we cannot count in numbers is called uncountable. Okay. There are 2 pens, 3 pens, 4 pens. These are countable nouns. One boy, 2 boys, 1 phone, 2 phones. Countable. We can count. The nouns which we cannot count. Air. You cannot say 1 air, 2 air. Or you can say 1 fire, 2 fire. 1 water, 2 water. No, you cannot count them. So you cannot add numbers without taking help of some other part of speech. So this is called they are called uncountable, countable and uncountable nouns. Okay, we'll go for the next. So what do we have next? So the next topic, the nouns. I think we have completed nouns. The second topic is pronoun. What is a pronoun? Pronoun is any word that is used in place of a noun, that can be used in place of a noun. So sometimes if we do not have pronouns, we have to repeat nouns for everything. For example, if you take a proper noun or any noun, for example, we take bird. It's a common noun. Bird. The bird is flying in the sky. The bird is flying very high. The bird gets tired. The bird will go into its nest. The bird will give eggs. So instead of using the common noun bird again and again, the pronoun is devised so that we may avoid repetition of noun. For example, for the first time we use bird. From the second time we use it. The bird is flying in the sky. It is going very high. It tries to sit down. It goes into a nest. It gives eggs. So, in place of the noun bird, we are using pronoun it. Okay. The boy is going to school. The boy is eating his lunch. The boy is coming back from school. So instead of this, we are using the boy is going to school. He is coming from the school. He is again going to school. So instead of boy, we are using he. So any word that can be used in place of noun can be called as pronoun. Okay. No, not this. Pronoun. A pronoun is a word used in place of a noun. A pronoun is a word used in place of noun. A pronoun is usually substituted for specific noun, which is called its antecedent. Pronouns are further defined by type. So, for every noun, there is a specific kind of pronoun that can be used. So, we cannot use any pronoun for any noun. Every noun has its own designated antecedent. Okay. So we can use only those pronouns for such nouns. Pronouns are further defined by type. So there are many kinds of pronouns, many categories. Personal pronouns refers to specific persons or things. Possessive pronouns indicate ownership. Reflexive pronouns used to emphasize another noun or pronoun. Relative pronouns introduce subordinate clause. Demonstrative pronouns identify or refers to nouns. So there are many types of pronouns. In the exam, you may not be asked to identify particular kind of pronoun. They will ask you just to identify the pronoun. But you must be aware of all those pronouns to identify correct the pronoun. So let us see personal pronouns. What are personal pronouns? Personal pronouns are used as a substitute for a person's name. Okay. As a substitute for person's name, for proper, we can say in place of a proper name. In place of a proper name, personal pronouns are used. And there are two kinds in this also: subjective and objective. Subjective pronouns and objective pronouns. That is, they either act as the subject of the sentence or the object of the sentence, depending on the situation. As the subject of the sentence, they are I, you, she, he, they, we. Okay. you must not get confused with this, because sometimes these are very simple things, but sometimes these subjective and objective pronouns confuse us much. We fail to recognize the parts of speech because of this. As the object of the sentence, they are me, you, he, him, them, it, us. So I think we have examples. Now we can clearly see them. Examples of subjective personal pronouns. So they went to store. They went to store. Okay. For example, my parents went to store. My parents. Parents is noun, common noun. Or you can call it as a collective noun also. Parents. Two people grouped together to be called as parents. They went to the store. So they, here they is subjective pronoun. I don't want to leave. I. Okay, the characters which are bolded, which are in bold, they are pronouns. Okay. He runs a great shop in town. You can't leave either. They, I, he, you, these are subjective personal pronouns, because you see they are acting as subjects of the sentence. They is subject in the first, I, he, these are the subjects of the sentence. When they are used as objectives, please don't sit beside me. If it is subjective, it is I. When it is objective, it becomes me. When it is subjective, it is she. When it is objective now pronoun, it is her. Go talk to her. It doesn't change. The word it doesn't change. It is subjective or objective. It remains the same. Don't look at them. They becomes them. They when it is subjective. Them when it is objective. Okay. These are personal pronouns. Personal pronouns divided into subjective and objective. Next, possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns show the ownership or possession of a noun. Okay. What are the possessive pronouns? They show the possession of a noun. For example, my. You possess something. You say my book. My book. You possess that book, my book. His book, your book, hers book, theirs, mine, ours, yours, theirs, hers. Okay. So possessive pronouns. It is my book. I possess the book. Becomes my. It is mine. It is ours. It is yours. So all these words when described are mentioned in the slide. You can see these are all pronouns, possessive pronouns. Next, indefinite pronouns. What are indefinite pronouns? When the things are not definite. Indefinite pronouns don't point to particular nouns. We use them when an object don't need to be specifically identified. When we don't want specificity, we don't want a noun to be specifically identified, we use indefinite nouns, indefinite pronouns. They few, everyone, nobody, all, some, anything. I, for example, a few people gathered for my lecture. A few people gathered for my lecture. I am not giving the exact number. I am not giving the definite number. I am just giving you indefinite number, not specific. A few. Everyone is invited. Nobody is there. All of you are good students. Some of you did not come. Anything can happen. So in all these things, it is indefinite. Indefinite pronouns don't point to particular nouns. Use them when an object doesn't need to be specifically identified. As such, it can remain indefinite. Okay. Next, for example, is that my book? Now that's his book. It's her itself. I'd like to see their bookshelf. That is mine. Wrong. It is ours. So I suppose those clothes are yours. No, it's theirs. So all the bolded words, bolded characters, they are possessive pronouns. So they refer to something that a noun possesses. Your, mine, mine. Okay. This is over. Example of subjective pronouns. Possessive. Next, relative pronouns. Relative pronouns are used to connect a clause or phrase to a noun or pronoun. We often see them when we need to add more information. When we need more information, some kind of a stress on the information, we use them. They are who, whom, whoever, whomsoever, whichever, whatsoever. The driver who ran the stop sign was careless. I don't know which pair of shoes you are talking about. Take whichever you want. So all these things refer to a noun. In the first example, who refers to driver. In second sentence, which refers to the noun shoe. They relative. Take whichever you want. Okay. So these are relative pronouns. They are related to noun. Okay, look at them carefully. The driver who is related to driver, which is related to shoes. Next, intensive pronouns. Intensive pronouns emphasize or intensify nouns or pronouns. Typically, we find them right after the nouns. They are intensifying. These pronouns typically end in self or selves. So these are like myself, himself, herself. So we are intensive. We are, when we want to make a point in an intense manner, intensive pronouns are used. The main feature is self or selves. Myself, himself, herself. When it is plural, it becomes selves, themselves, yourselves, etc. All the examples given. I myself like to travel. Intensive. I myself. I myself like to travel. He himself. He itself is a pronoun. Now we are giving one more pronoun to make it more intensive, make the word more intensive. He himself is the worst critic. She approved the marriage herself. She is a pronoun there, and we are using again herself to give it make it more intense. We went to here WB. Eats himself speak. We went to here WB eats himself speak. Himself refers to WB eats there. So intensive, to make the things more intense, we use those things. Next, demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns take the place of noun that is already been mentioned. They can be singular or plural. There are 5 of them. They include these, those, this, that, such. These words, these, those, this, that, such. These are demonstrative pronouns. Okay, let us see examples of demonstrative pronouns. These are ugly. Those are lovely. Don't drink this. Such was his understanding. So these are demonstrative. These are ugly. Okay, we can say these bangles are ugly. We can add one noun there, and without noun also we can use them. These bangles are ugly. Those flowers are lovely. Don't drink this water. Such was his understanding of the subject. So these are demonstrative pronouns. Now next, what do we have next? Interrogative. What is interrogation? Asking questions. So all the words which we use in asking are interrogative pronouns. Who, whom, which, what, whoever, whomever, whichever, whatever, all these are interrogative pronouns. For example, who is going to arrive first? What are you bringing that party? Which of these do you like better? Whatever do you mean? So these are all questions, the question words. What, which, why, all these questions are also pronouns. Next, reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are similar to intensive pronouns. So here, intensive pronouns and reflexive pronouns both look similar. And maybe you can say they are almost similar to each other. The difference between the two is the intensive pronouns are essential to some sentences meaning. Meanwhile, reflexive pronouns are. That means I myself ordered the coffee. This is intensive pronoun. Here myself is intensive pronoun. I myself ordered the coffee. So even if you remove myself, the meaning doesn't change. I ordered coffee. We are giving intensity by adding myself, but the meaning doesn't change. I ordered coffee is same as I myself ordered the coffee. But meanwhile, in reflexive pronouns, they are used when the subject and the object of a sentence refer to a same person or thing. These pronouns end same, like reflexive, intensive pronouns, like self or selves. Same as as we have seen them in intensive pronouns. Myself, yourself, himself, herself. They are same. But let us see examples. I told myself not to spend all the money on new shoes. You are going to have to drive yourself to the restaurant today. We gave ourselves plenty of extra time. They bought themselves a new car. So, look at the slide and see and spot the difference. Try to understand the difference between reflexive pronoun and intensive pronoun. So if in reflexive pronouns, if myself is not there, the meaning will change. The meaning will not, it doesn't mean anything. Here also, yourself. If yourself is not there, the meaning will change altogether. Ourselves, themselves, the meaning will change. But in intensive pronouns, the meaning will not change even if we change everything. So, I think for this class, nouns and pronouns are enough, and it is almost 40 to 50 minutes now. So today we have learned nouns and pronouns. I think most of you know these things. Most of you have knowledge of verbs and nouns and pronouns, and altogether parts of speech. But as it is in our syllabus, we have to read them again, and it is very interesting topic, and it I think it carries in exam about 10 marks also. So though you are well aware of the topic, you may get confused, as I told you in the beginning. It is very confusing sometimes to identify the parts of speech, because most of one word can be used in different ways. One word can be used in different parts of speech. So be careful. Today we have done nouns and pronouns, and tomorrow we'll do adjectives, and eventually we'll do all the parts of speech. Okay. Keep watching my videos, and you can comment on the videos also if you like the videos, or if you do need any special information, if you do need any class on any grammar topic, you can comment. You can give a comment after the video. Okay, thank you.